Scotch swell, hey, Scotch swell, hey, hear the voice of Scotland, Scotch swell, hey.
So tonight we're making the haggis for the Burns supper. We've got Barnacle Brian over here. He's toasting the oats. We've got, as you can see, the organ meats boiling away. We've got the lungs, and they're actually, you boil them with the windpipe sticking out so that you get rid of the phlegm. So it's getting spewed out right now. We've got a bunch of really nice lean lamb here, which we will toast up with some onions. Then we're going to mix it all together with the oats, some barley. In this case I use malted barley, which is used in brewing beer. I kind of like to tie in the beer and the whiskey, which is consumed at Burns Night, with the haggis by using actually malted barley. And then we start stuffing the stomachs and sewing them up. You boil the organ meats for about 2 hours. These are what are called pinhead oats or steel cut oats. That's the type of oats that are best to use for making haggis. If you use rolled oats, they swell up a little bit too much. Toasting the oats is really essential. As you can see, Brian's doing that in the cast iron skillet. You can also do it on a baking sheet in the oven, but you got to keep a real close eye on it, otherwise they'll start to scorch. You want to about probably as much oats or a little less oats as you have meat. This is lard that's actually trimmed off the pig's stomach, and we're just going to use that. You can see I've already browned the lamb. Put the lamb in here, and we're going to cover that with some juice, some pork broth, and some water, and we'll boil that with the onions. But because we've got such a volume, I'm doing the browning the onions separately, but I'm going to use this pork lard to brown the onions. You boil the lamb and the onions for about an hour and a half, and then at the very last half hour you add the liver. We've got the lungs here, and we've got 2 hearts like a Time Lord, and a couple of kidneys here. Kidneys they've shrunk down quite significantly. For the first hour and a half or so, you want to leave the windpipe out for the collection of all this phlegm, because you really don't want to be eating that. It looks kind of gross. Kind of looks like a raspberry frappe. So we just discard the phlegm. That's kind of gross. We're going to start cutting up the meats. There's our lungs. And we want to cut out all of this. This is a big, they're big blood vessels. You don't want to eat that, so you want to trim that out. So I'll do that in just a moment. So you just chop your lungs into nice sized pieces that will go into the food processor. The lungs are a really interesting consistency. They're quite spongy. They've got a lot of bouncy resilience. You're going to put it all through a food processor, and it'll get chopped up, and then you mix it with the oats. And when we mix it with the oats, we also add a little bit of lard, and we also add a little bit of Scotch ale, and usually a little nip of whiskey into the mix. You don't put a whole lot in the haggis, but you put a little bit in the cook. So I've got the oats and the barley malt here. I'll do a little premix on the dry ingredients. Then we'll go ahead and kind of layer it in with the meat. We don't want to go too much of one meat or too much of the grain, because we want an even mix throughout. So our lamb has softened up sufficiently, and the onions as well. We'll just strain those out. We'll save this broth for later use. You can do this way, or you can also just strain it through a strainer, but the lamb's so soft at this stage, I figure we'll just do it this way and save trying to clean the strainer. So we shredded all of our lamb here, and we'll add that to the mix. So this is a bottle of 2008 Scotch ale that has soured in the bottle. What it is really great for is adding moisture to the haggis mixture here. So we'll go ahead and decant in the rest of the bottle, and we'll start mixing that together. So this is our Lefroy 10. It's cast strength and very fine, very peaty Islay whiskey. And we'll put that into the haggis. This is a pretty good mixture. And then we're going to put everything into the stomach. All right, so you want to sew up any kind of an opening in the haggis here in the stomach. And I've got one at this end as well, which I'll go ahead and sew up when I get to the end. But you want to go ahead and fill the stomach with the haggis mix here. So we grab this, and you want to fill it up until you get fairly full, but you want to leave room for, the stomach is fairly elastic, but you don't want the oats swell up a lot, so you can actually burst them if you overfill the haggis. So you don't want to do that. So you're essentially just using the stomach as a sausage casing. Let's sew this one up, and you can see here I've left some space in this end here, so that'll give it a little bit. It's pretty tight in here, but that'll give it a little bit of space to expand into as the oats swell as you boil it. And when you're ready to cook it, you boil it for about 4 hours, and then you bring it out. You get the piper to pipe it into the dining room, and you read the address to the haggis, and then somebody cuts it open, and then you eat. Good afternoon and welcome to Celtopunk Cookery.
All right.
You don't want to eat the phlegm. It's like a sea turtle.
Get a couple more in there.
I think.
Oh yeah, because I did that first one. I wasn't even that full.
Let's go ahead and give this a good rinse for the camera. Brian, do you want to go ahead and work on this liver here?
Yes, I will, Abe.
Excellent.